Hello and welcome to another Pop Culture Talk episode. Yes, I am definitely diving into one of my favorite vampire animes of all time. And while I did like the first iteration, the 2001 iteration, Hellsing Ultimate, like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, revamped it following the books more thoroughly. And does it live up to that expectation, and is it better than the first iteration? Well, that's why you're here today. Going to be talking about Hellsing Ultimate. Let's go.
Britain is under attack by vampires and ghouls, and the only group to deal with them are the Hellsing organization, founded by Van Helsing and the Queen's group to deal with the vampires. They hunt vampires to protect the United Kingdom. But they also have a pet vampire to also take care of the hard work, the ones that humans can't really deal with that easily. Alucard, the Helsing's top elite vampire. Soon, a woman in the police force is overrun by ghouls. Her name is Ceres Victoria, but when she's wounded in action, Alucard turns her, and thus she joins the Helsing organization, just like in the first iteration, to stop vampires that are causing murders around England. But something will come, a bigger threat, that will soon lead London into big chaos. And Alucard will unleash his power among his enemies, and London will be in an ocean of blood. Now, just like Brotherhood, Hellsing Ultimate follows the books more thoroughly, at least as the show progresses. I gotta say, it's really awesome. I really liked the story, though there was maybe like one issue I had with one particular character. I don't want to spoil it. Do wish there was more depth to why this happened with this character and why this character shifted to a specific thing, if you know what I mean. The soundtrack, well, I like some of it. It has some pretty good music, but mainly orchestra music, along with the more modern type horror soundtrack. But the first iteration's song, the original I like to say, had better music. Don't get me wrong, the music in here is fine. It's not bad. It's just, there's something cool about the original soundtrack. It's just catchy. It had a very cooler vibe, cooler feel to it. It fit. It's kind of the same with Brotherhood's issue with the music. It's like, it's not as good as the first iteration, but overall it's still good. The animation is also really good. It's got a different style to it than the previous one. Art style is great too, with Alucard's grin expression, Ceres's pitiful expressions as the innocent type, Integra Hellsing just like nonchalant about stuff, Walter with the smile on his face as a gentleman, and almost every villain or every character's grinning.
So, of course, the art style is drastically different. It follows more of the later iterations of the manga. On the other hand, it has more of this, wouldn't say noirish type, just dark and gritty. But then, of course, it also inserts some humorous moments that changes the art style a bit, which doesn't really fit well with Hellsing. Of course, though, I do think the art style is better, and at least animation is better quality-wise. Now, of course, it did start off originally in this type of art style that was 2006 type. Very different, but then of course when the Blu-ray release came around, it looked a lot better to fit more of the newer episodes that came out later. Bear in mind, it took years to actually develop all of these episodes because the mangas were still coming out.
When it comes to the characters, we've already known all these characters from the first iteration. Alucard, Ceres, Alexander Anderson, Walter, Integra, and even Enrico Maxwell.
Enrico Maxwell has a lot more depth to him than in the first iteration. Alexander Anderson has a bigger role. Ceres Victoria is drastically different in this iteration.
Though I will say Alucard does get more of an interesting backstory, and when you read his character, it's interesting. He only serves his master, Integra, and the fact that he's the king of vampires, and well, I like to quote the voice actor that did Alucard, Crispin Freeman, for saying this, but he is bored. And since like in the first iteration, and here, even though they don't really show it, that Integra manned up to him, put her foot down to him. So the fact that she manned up like that to him, he would play her games and only wait for her orders. So I will say, Ultimate does show more of Alucard's character, and he is still a badass. And an interesting anti-hero. Now, Ceres, on the other hand, has more character backstory as well as Alucard. However, her character in Ultimate is mostly a comic relief at points, and yes, fan service. I liked her first iteration when it came to her having to deal with the fact she's not human, trying to fight that urge to drink blood. Now, of course, in here, she has her moments of being badass, and man, she does go all out. Her past, though, good night. I was not prepared for that very dark, disturbing scene of her past that it does show later on. Viewer discretion is highly advised on that one. Anderson, just like the others, also gets more character than the previous iteration. He is just as wicked of a character for the Vatican. But even in the last episode with him, he shows off more of a human side to him. Integra, well, for her, we get more of her having moments with Alucard and her also getting involved in certain situations. Her skills, she can fight with a sword and manage to kill some Nazi vampires. We don't really get a lot of scenes of her past, except for a few here and there, but not big details like the first iteration, which it actually did show when she met Alucard for the first time. While you do see it here, it's very brief. Walter has more depth as well, where him and Alucard were on a mission back during the Second World War, stopping the Nazis from using the ghouls. And while we did get to see him in action in the first iteration, he is just as badass in here as he was in the first iteration. But we get to see more of him do his thing, and is loyal too. But there is an issue with his character in Ultimate. I won't give away what it is, but a specific thing that you might be like baffled about. I could say it was more out of the blue than anything. If we would look back to those short OVAs, maybe get an idea, maybe get a little more about why X, Y, and Z, but the way it was written wasn't the best, I would say. And probably the only thing that was my issue with this show. There is also a lot of new characters too, old and new, but I'll mention one more that is probably the most evilest villain in anime, but it's probably wouldn't be any surprise while there's a bunch of villains in here. The Major. He has got to be the most evilest anime villain of all time. I mean, obviously he's a Nazi, so who doesn't hate Nazis? But he's kind of like another Hitler, except he's more crazy. And he just seeks destruction and chaos and just another war. So yeah, he really is one hell of a villain who would be on a list of many other villains. Even his allies. Some have some characteristics, others don't really show much. Most of them don't really get backstories except for at least 3 of them. But even then, not much to really go on except that they're just bad.
Yeah, you have Naraku, villain. Medusa, villain. The Major has this complex about him as a villain. It's like very intriguing, but of course, you just want to like see him get destroyed, and yet it takes a while to get to the point. And meanwhile, he gets away with a lot of stuff, just like Medusa and Naraku. They get away with a lot of stuff and cause so much problems. He gets away with a lot, and by that point, you're just ready for him to go. But that's what makes a good villain there. And of course, his minions, they have some traits, but some characters don't get a much backstory. Like this character, he's the quiet type. The Doctor, he has a little bit, but most of these characters you only get slight glimpses of, not that much. And while there was a prequel to these, The Dawn, I will say it does kind of show what happened during the war.
Overall, I really enjoyed Hellsing Ultimate. Just like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, it follows the books, and it is awesome. Though it is gory, and it's a very dark show, even though for those odd comic relief scenes with Ceres and some other points with Ceres, it didn't really fit the show because of the theme of the show, but okay. I like the fact that we get more development for these characters since we've known them since the first iteration, their backstories and the stuff they did. The one scene from Ceres' past was the only thing that actually bothered me. That was the only one, well, not to mention Alucard's past when he was a kid. But that also shows why he's the way he is. And yeah, there is that one issue with the out of the blue moment with the one character, but overall, really awesome show. Action scenes are cool, interesting characters, and I know this show ain't gonna be for everyone just because of the stuff they show, like the gore, but to me, this is one of my favorite animes of all time because it's different. I enjoyed the first iteration, but like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood finished the story that it adapted that it was originally how it was supposed to go, and Hellsing Ultimate does the same.
And, you know, Hellsing is the whole reason I got into vampires to begin with. It's because of this show. It's because of Alucard. It's because of the whole story. The first iteration got me into it, and then Hellsing Ultimate expanded upon it with action and cool, awesome animation. And, of course, the bad guys being Nazis, but Alucard just obliterating them. I mean, it's what I like to see when it comes to vampire animes. And this is one of them. And this is one of those classic anime series, alongside Inuyasha, alongside Fullmetal Alchemist, alongside Gundam, alongside, you know, Evangelion, or other type of animes out there. This is one of them. A very intriguing anime, and of course, just interesting characters. I don't think we will ever get anything like this again. Hellsing Ultimate has always been my favorite ever since I started watching it. And Hellsing Ultimate expands upon the universe, just like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and or even Fruits Basket, for that matter, the 2019 remake. It brings all of the stuff from the mangas to adapt the rest of the story and give it the conclusion it needs. Because the first iteration, it just ends, which, okay, it's not the worst, but I felt like there was some stuff missing in that iteration. Ultimate fixes that. It's like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, at least the original, or the first 2003 version of Fullmetal Alchemist did have a conclusion. Hellsing just ends. This has a conclusion, a bittersweet one at that, but still a conclusion. Hellsing Ultimate is special in my heart, and it's just so cool. Alucard's so badass, and even him and Anderson having a duel or fight against each other, that's so cool. Him against the whole battalion, and then you have the Crusaders. You have chaos in London. It is like crazy. So yeah, I would say it's definitely an awesome anime, and one of my favorites alongside the classics. And if you're really into vampire stuff, I would check it out. If it wasn't for Hellsing, I would not have gone into like Underworld, Blade, or any other type like Lost Boys. Hellsing got me into it. I was never into vampires for a while. I was mainly into zombies, and now Hellsing gave me that. But it also has zombies in here too, so that's a plus. So gosh, you have Nazi vampires, you have zombies, and you have a specific vampire, a famous vampire, king of vampires. And just all these characters together is just awesome. Even some side characters too. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Pop Culture Talk episode. If you like what you saw here, follow me wherever you're watching. Feel free to check out many more episodes of Pop Culture Talk. And yeah, watch some more vampire stories. If they're good, this is one of them. Anyways, peace.